This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds. My topic today, again, is inflation because many of you have written to me or communicated in other ways. You want to know more, you're upset about rising oil prices or rising housing prices, and you don't feel as though it's been explained in any kind of way that's adequate. So even though we did a topic like this about a week ago, I want to do some more and get at the core of what I think is at play in the current inflationary experience of the U.S. economy. And to do so, I'm going to start with a simple economics example, which we can then extend to what's going on in the United States right now. So follow with me as we look at a hypothetical situation. Imagine you were a merchant. You owned a store somewhere and you sold something, food, clothing, toys, whatever. And you had a community that would come into your store periodically to buy food, clothing, toys, etc. Whatever it is your store offered. And now suppose you heard that the government of the community where you were located had decided to pump up the economy by flooding it with a great deal of fresh, new money that was being distributed to individuals and businesses right around where your store was located. You would now have a choice of how to respond. This is very important. One choice, one option out of the two, would be for you to order more of whatever your store sells. Your reasoning would be the people in the community who normally shop in your store now are possessed of much more money. There's more around and they've gotten some of it. So you can be pretty sure that they will be willing and interested in buying more than they used to because they have more money than they used to. So you order more of whatever your store sells, and you hope and expect that folks will arrive with the extra money that's now circulating and spend it on buying more from you. And your incentive is your profits. Because whatever the difference is between the price you pay for the goods in your store and the price you can charge customers who come to your store, whatever that difference is, your net revenue or profits, will be greater the more of these things that you sell normally you can now sell extra of because of the extra money in the economy. But that's not your only choice. You could do something else. In a free enterprise capitalist society, you are free to respond to the extra money in your economy in any way you see fit. So your second option would be not to order more goods and services, but to choose instead to raise your prices, reasoning that with more money in the hands of your usual customers, they will now be interested in and willing to pay higher prices. They will kind of understand that since everybody has more money, prices get bid up because people have the money with which to bid up the prices. And if you want to get whatever there is for sale, you're going to have to kick in more money than you used to get the items you're interested in. In other words, in a free enterprise capitalist system, remembering that it's always the employer who sets the price, never the employees who do that. The employer, seeing the extra money in the economy, has a choice. But the choice is very important, not just for the businessman or woman in question, the storekeeper, but for the whole society. Let's see how that works. If the capitalist businessman or woman decides to respond to extra money by trying to sell more goods, this is good for society for basically two reasons. Number one, if more goods are sold, it means more goods are produced, and it means more people will be able to get jobs producing those more goods that are now being more sold. So it's good for the job situation. But likewise, because the businesses do not raise prices, there will be no inflation. The situation will be that the extra money leads to the production and distribution of extra goods, and that's good profit extra for the business, good jobs more for the working people, more goods to consume. Good news. No inflation, more jobs, more profits. But the businesses might reason differently. They might say, look, it's a lot more work for me to order more goods and services, especially because I might order the wrong ones, those that people don't want to buy. And then I have to make sure the goods are shipped. And then I have to receive them and unpack them and put them out on my shelves. I've got to do a lot of work. Whereas with a computer, I can change the price of everything in my store in 10 minutes. Much less work, much less time. So maybe I'll go for the price increase. It's good for my profits. I sell as much as I used to, but I'm getting more money for each item that I sell. So my costs haven't gone up, but my profits will go up with my prices. So I'll do it that way. In a capitalist system, the tiny minority of people who are employers and who are therefore in the position to set prices can choose to respond to extra money by raising prices and getting their extra profits that way. And if they do, more goods won't be sold, and therefore more jobs will not be created. And prices in general will go up, and that will hurt all the people on fixed incomes. You know, the people on a pension, the people trying to live in Social Security, the people who can't raise their income to match the rising prices they have to pay. That's how capitalism works. And in the United States today, that's how it's working. Because of the bad year we had over the last 15 months, the combination of COVID-19 public health disaster and the crash of our capitalist system, with huge numbers of people out of work for long periods of time, businesses were hurt. They want to make up what they lost, and they're in a hurry. So you know what they're choosing to do? Not all of them, but most of them. Jack up the prices. And why? Because the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury are working together to flood the economy with more money because they're so upset about the depression that could happen if they didn't do it. So they are rushing, pumping up the money, and in a private enterprise economy, we all, the majority, have to live with what the tiny employer minority chooses to do. And in this situation, it chooses rising prices. And that's why we have an inflation. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.